mean, so now that we're here alone, we could probably kiss.
I guess I would be the one to start that conversation.
All right. Welcome back to the campfire, everyone. I'm here with my co-host, Andrew. We spent weeks digging into the archives and checking the maps, and today we're finally tracking the big one.
That's right. If you grew up in the South, you've heard the stories. While the rest of the world is looking for Bigfoot in the mountains, we knew the real mysteries lurking right here in the swamps.
We're talking about a 7-foot-tall, foul-smelling legend that has been spotted from the Everglades all the way to the Panhandle. It's the skunk ape, and it's more than just a local tall tale.
Thanks for having me on, Josh. I'm glad to be here. For those who don't know me, I spend my life working in the Florida landscape and managing large-scale turf and environments, so I'm outdoors constantly. I've seen just about everything this state has to throw at you, from the wildlife to the weirdness. I'm a big fan of looking at the data and the actual biology of what's out there, so I'm looking forward to diving into the facts behind the legend today and seeing what we can actually prove.
All right, so we're going to start off with the Mayaka letter. In December 2000, the Sarasota Sheriff's Department received an anonymous letter and 2 Polaroids. This is the closest thing to a smoking gun in cryptozoology.
This letter said, "To whom it may concern, please find enclosed 2 photographs that I took in the backyard of my house. I live in Mayaka City area. My husband and I are seniors, and we have a small porch on the back of our house. For 3 nights, an animal has been coming onto the porch and stealing the apples we leave out for the deer. It has an awful smell that lasted well after it left my yard. It was making deep, whomping sounds. It was standing within 10 feet of it when it stood up. I thought, is someone missing an orangutan? But it was much bigger. I judged it as being about 6.5 to 7 feet tall in a kneeling position. I was afraid it would hurt someone, so I took the pictures and then I ran it off into the palmettos. I don't want any publicity, I just want you to know this thing is out there."
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
That definitely comes from like great apes. Great apes definitely do a whomping sound. Like gorillas and stuff, they do womp womp. Also, they beat on their chest.
Yep. They're for mating purposes to call their mates. I mean, I've seen them do it before fights and everything. That's just their language essentially.
Oh no, they're juggalos. Whoop whoop. We got a juggalo skunk ape. That's what it is. It's just a juggalo out there, hairy and smelly.
Just the way I like them.
So now we're gonna go to the 1977 Key Largo siege, the Stokeman family. This wasn't a one-time sighting, it was a month-long harassment of a family at mile marker 94.5. The encounter on July 14th, 1977, Charles Stokeman and his son were collecting rare bottles in the mangroves. They suddenly smelled rotting meat and sulfur. A 9-foot creature with huge shoulders and a small head. It stood up from the brush just feet away.
Mr. Stockman said that the creature let out a high-pitched, soul-piercing wail. He had also said that over the next 2 weeks, the creature returned to their home at night. Stokeman's wife reported seeing it peering through the bedroom window.
That Pekins.
Pekin tone. Stokeman was actually so desperate, he cleared 30 foot of brush around his house with a tractor to create a sightline. When the creature still returned, the family got so scared they fled the homestead, refusing to live in the house. This led to the Skunk Ape Safari, where Tavernier residents armed themselves with lanterns, cameras, and snake bite kits to hunt the beast.
Why do you need snake bite kits?
And I don't know, are they just gonna suck it off? Like, I'm confused. Is it gonna give them anti-venom, or is it the one that pulls the venom out?
Oh no, I think I've been bit on the pecker. You might need to suck it out. Suck the venom out.
Maybe they were gonna release a bunch of venomous snakes to get it, and then that's how they keep it alive.
Oh, that's smart.
Yep. They were really thinking outside the bun there, that community.
All right, so now we're going to the 1974 Lantana shootout. This is the most famous law enforcement encounter. Deputies Marvin Lewis and Ernie Milner were patrolling a citrus grove west of Lantana. They reported a heavy, hairy creature walking upright that began stalking their cruiser.
When the creature grunted and lunged towards them, the deputies fired their service revolvers. The creature did not fall. It shrugged off the rounds and disappeared into the swamps with incredible speed.
The next morning, they returned with a search party. They found a barbed wire fence that had been mashed flat as if something heavy had walked over it. They recovered long reddish-black hairs snagged on the barbs.
Deputy Lewis himself insisted until his death in the 1980s that I know it exists. I saw it and I shot it.
Well, where's the body if you shot it? If it was that close to lunge at you and you shoot it, there's going to be a body.
I don't know many things that can walk off a 9mm 10 feet away.
Yeah, and I mean, you're a trained law enforcement officer, you're going to hit it center mass, and that's going to do something.
Exactly.
Regardless of how big the creature is. Nothing is bulletproof.
And there was no blood to trace the next day. Like, there was nothing for them to track down. It just doesn't necessarily add up to me.
Yeah. So now we're going to go to the Barton Booger, the clothesline thief. Deep in Putnam County, the reports took on a more mischievous tone. The accounts, 1975 witness saw a 9-foot black creature rocking a blue Chevy back and forth while a hysterical man inside screamed for help. When the witness headlights hit the creature, it glided into the mangroves.
Local old-timers at Bud's Groceries in Barton reported that Booger was notorious for stealing laundry off clotheslines. One specific account mentions the Booger carrying a lantern, which suggests either a misidentification of a human or a truly bizarre evolved trait.
That was definitely a creeper just stealing panties off of clothes.
That's exactly right.
I mean, I've never heard of a Bigfoot carrying a lantern.
No, that's what I'm saying. Unless it's got some magical hands or something. Lit its hand on fire to see the way in front of it.
That's smart. One resident claimed he walked into the kitchen to find the creature raiding his refrigerator. It didn't attack. It simply grabbed a handful of food and walked out the door. That fat bitch.
I find it interesting that when the cops that were in a car, mind you, a protected cruiser, were sitting there on the side of the road, this animal lunged at them to the point where they felt threatened enough to have to pull out their firearms. But this gentleman who was in their house just basically said, "Hi, here's a snack or two, and be on your way."
I know I definitely wouldn't be standing around to find out what it was.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know, unless it was injured from the gunshot, and then it came to that man's house afterwards, just like, "Hey man, got any Percocets here? Got this shoulder pain real bad."
You know what I think I'll fix it? Some fucking pulled pork.
Let me get some pulled pork.
All right.
Next is the Dave Shealy 1997 analysis, The Physics of the Apes. Dave Shealy's video is often called a hoax, but he provides pro-print data points that are hard to debunk.
The speed. The creature was clocked moving around 2 feet of swamp water at a speed comparable to a galloping deer.
Humans look down when walking through uneven terrain to avoid tripping. In this video, the creature never looks at its feet. It moves in a perfectly straight line, ignoring the path of least resistance. I mean, if I run through the mud, I'm definitely not going to be just running in a straight line. I'm going to try to find maybe like a root or something to jump on, like something a little harder than just running in a dead straight line.
Yeah, what it's pointing out though is, like I said, most people look down when they walk.
Yeah, 100%.
This thing just didn't care where I was walking. It knew it could barrel through anything.
Well, yeah, exactly. And maybe it's just because it's its home. So, you don't look down when you're walking through your house. You know where everything is. I mean, a blind person can walk through their house if they walk through it enough. So, I mean, if he's lived out in these woods for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, then he might just have it down by the back of his hand.
Yeah, that's a great point right there. So another thing that they noted was the feel-like temperature that day was 109.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Shealy argues that no human could survive running full tilt in a heavy fur suit in that humidity without suffering heat stroke within minutes.
I mean, realistically, I don't think humans can even run as fast as deer to begin with, let alone in a full fur suit. I mean, I don't think heat stroke would have been the first thing. I think tripping would have probably been my first thought. We work outside. We know how it is. And I've come from Naples, Florida, so I've lived down in the Glades. I know how that humidity is, and I've been outside in 110, 150 degree weather. And yeah, it sucks, but it's survivable.
I don't know. I about die in like 90 degree weather, so put a a fursuit on me, I'm dead.
Yeah, no,
You get me
gonna,
sprinting 5 seconds and I'm dead.
that's going to be the limiting factor there, because not only is it going to be extra hot, but you have limited motion. So if you could run 10 miles per hour, I mean, you're not running 10 miles per hour in an ape suit. You're running maybe half of that, if that. You probably couldn't even run. You ever seen a mascot try to run? They don't look very good when they're doing it.
No, not at all. All right. So it also, unlike Bigfoot, who has 5 toes, skunk ape tracks frequently show 4 toes or a splayed big toe like an ape.
In 1974, a farmer named Buddy Stirrer witnessed a skunk ape lifting a 110-pound hog with a one arm in jump defense.
He was definitely flexing on him.
Yeah, he got that testosterone. He's pumping stuff. I mean, can you imagine? I can't even barely pick up 110 with 2 arms sometimes. You know what I mean? And this man's just picking up 110 and throwing it around like it's javelin.
Yeah. In 1977, a bill was actually introduced to the Florida legislature to make it illegal to take, possess, or molest arthropods or humanoid animals. It failed to pass, but the fact it was drafted shows how high the panic was.
This tells me one of 2 things. Either nobody really believed it, or the Senate were some fucking perverts and wanted to molest some man for folks.
Let me go molest a Bigfoot real quick.
Yeah, but that's my liking. I like them big and hairy, you know what I mean?
Hey, we should definitely just not make a bill, because if somebody's willing to molest a Bigfoot, you should probably see where it pans out.
Yeah. You deserve those consequences. It's all fun and game until it molests you back.
Do you think that the Bigfoot likes boys?
No.
Oh, shit. So the smell, it's not just bad, it's sulfuric, methane-heavy skunk odor that lingers for hours.
Everyone talks about that skunk smell like it's some monstrous pheromones. Have you ever actually stepped in a deep muck hole in the summer? I lived in Naples, like I said, so I've gone through the glades. I've walked through it in the dead heat of the summer. That's hydrogen sulfide, rotting plants, and swamp gas. It smells like death and sulfur. If you're out there in the heat and you catch a whiff of something nasty, you're not smelling a monster. You're just smelling the Everglades being the Everglades.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely smelled some nasty shit coming out of like swamps and stuff. Just walking through the woods, it's got that weird musky smell to it in general.
And it doesn't even have to be the Everglades. I mean, just any woods has that smell in it.
But if there was an ape out there in the Florida Everglades with all the humidity and stuff, it definitely has some pretty nasty smelling balls.
You imagine just swimming in the swamp? I mean, I've seen the canals. Those are just vile. I wouldn't even eat a fish out of those canals. They're just polluted and gross and disgusting, and sharing the same dens as an alligator. You know what I mean? If it's something that big, it's probably threatening alligators and walking up into an alligator den and ripping one of them out.
I mean, that could explain why there's no bodies.
Yeah, it could be the
we
apex.
have enough. We definitely have enough predatory and scavenging animals that could eat the bodies from it.
But I mean, really, in the state with 23 million people in it, we've got hikers, we got hunters, we got trail cams on almost every other tree. You don't think one person would have seen that?
Yeah, you definitely got a point there.
I mean, people hit panthers and bears on the road all the time, and panthers are an endangered species in themselves.
If it's humanoid, though, who's to say that it doesn't think like us? It could be smarter than us. It could be just very good at hiding.
It could have a whole dynamic that we don't understand, where like if one dies, they can smell that smell of the odor, and the ancestors or whatever come and pick it up and do appropriate burial, or you never know.
Kind of like ants. When an ant dies, it releases a pheromone where they take and move the body. Who's to say that they don't bury the body?
That's exactly right.
That's a good point. You got any other things that you could debunk this with? What do you think it could be, couldn't be?
Well, my biggest thing is what I think it really is. I think it's just a sick bear. If you see something big, hairy, and standing on 2 legs in the brush in Florida, 99% of the time, that's going to be a bear.
But I can counter that with the reddish hair. Most bears in Florida are black bears. I don't think we have any other bears besides black bears.
Not to my understanding, yeah.
And I've never seen a red black bear. I mean, that would defeat. It's not a red bear.
But they can get mange on them. And mange will make them lose color and make different, like, I don't fully understand how mange works, but I've seen a bear with mange, and it would almost look like a horror creature. I mean, it loses its hair, but it still scratches, so it looks like it got open wounds on it. So somebody could have made a mistake, maybe blood from it scratching on a tree for red coat. I mean, the picture that they have is a 240p picture. I mean, you can barely even recognize what it is. It looks truthfully like an orangutan to me when you look at that.
Yeah, it definitely does look like an orangutan. And with all the hurricanes that have passed and all the exotic animals that we've had in Florida, it's not far-fetched to say that it was an escaped animal. You know, that
I don't know if you know this, but before the 1970s, there was no state legislation against having exotic animals. All down 41, which goes from the tip of Florida all the way down to the southern point of Florida, there was shops that you could go buy orangutans, monkeys, any exotic animals, pythons, all this stuff. That's why we have all these endangered animals today. And in 1992, when Hurricane Andrew came through, it devastated the Everglades exotic animal exhibit, and it let all of those exotic animals. That's why we don't have any of our natural lizards around here anymore or anything like that.
Yeah, that's why they'll also pay you to go and hunt these pythons, iguanas, anything that's, you know, an invasive species.
Exactly.
That's one big problem in the Everglades is the invasive species.
But I mean, if you see a 400-pound bear, they're going to stand up and be about 7-8 foot tall when they're on their hind legs. And bears stand up all the time to do many things. I mean, whether it's reaching for food or scratching their back or just standing up to look around.
And if that story was true, the Mayaka grandmother, her letter, it says that it was 6.5 to 7 foot tall kneeling. That doesn't line up with any bear that I've ever seen.
Now that's
if
very
it's
big.
6 to 7 foot tall kneeling, even a bear on all fours, 6 to 7 foot tall, that's a enormous creature all on its own. So
I have an interesting thought about why, if she was 10 foot away and watched it stand up, would she judge it by its kneeling height? Because when bears stand up, their back legs are much shorter than what you would expect, so it almost looked like a kneeling creature in that sense.
it's definitely a good
It could
point.
have been sitting on its butt, eating something, and then stood up and started to run off. It doesn't explicitly say whether it ran off on its hind legs or ran off on forelegs, and I don't see anywhere in here where it said to anybody where. Well, no, the police story had that where it said it ran on 2 feet, right?
Yeah, didn't it say glided into
Glided through the marsh, right?
What does that even mean? Glided? What, like 1-2 step
Or maybe like a lizard, the way lizards run across water, it's almost like a glide. If it's moving that fast, I mean, but does biology allow a 9 foot tall, 400-pound animal to move as fast as a deer?
Yeah, that's where it becomes really mysterious.
Exactly.
9 foot tall, anything moving that fast is definitely a mystery.
For sure. I mean, I've heard of elephants and giraffes moving that quick, but I also know that.
Yeah, but you gotta build that momentum to move.
And you
that.
got 4 legs. It's a lot easier
Yeah.
to stay balanced. I mean, you imagine watching people running through knee-high marsh at full speed. It's going to be very hard to do anything.
And that's where it confuses me with it saying that it could be a great ape. Have you ever seen a gorilla run? Like on its 2 legs, it's more like a waddle when it runs.
Well, yeah, and it's going to naturally want to put its arms down to help support it. Yeah, they don't run very long on their hind legs.
And most great apes have longer arms,
Exactly.
longer than their legs.
Well, and they also womp, like you said.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's their thing.
I think somebody just fucked an ape. There's the explanation. Somebody fucked an ape and came to Florida. It doesn't surprise me with Florida people.
Well, and another big thing is that scientists say that it's not just one skunk ape. I mean, it's been going on since the 70s. Apes don't live to be 60, 70 years old. So if there was a population of apes, there would need to be at least 100 to maybe 300 apes out there. So if there's really 7 foot tall, 450-pound apes running out there and hundreds of them, I just can't believe that nobody's seen it.
Yeah, or
got
they
a
found the
4K
bodies.
Exactly. Or a tooth.
They have to die.
Exactly.
They have to die at one point. But that also comes with the decomposition. The decomposition is going to be increased with like humidity and the insects that are here in Florida. they're definitely going to be rampant.
Well, the Glades is a toxic waste ground. We've already determined that. I mean, it's sulfur with dying plants and muck. I mean, it's literally designed to eat things whole.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be hard to excavate in the Glades to try to even find stuff out. I mean, if we're talking it's running through knee-high mud and it dies, it's just going to seep into that mud.
And also, alligators like to eat dying, decaying creatures and stuff. I mean, they take bodies and put it underwater so it decays to make it easier for them to eat. So who's to say that these aren't just consumed by the creatures of the Everglades?
And you would think maybe you would see like a mangled alligator body, something that it ate, like bones, something, unless it eats every single bit of it. But
and if it is like a skunk ape or a humanoid creature, it probably uses tools, and we would find some sort of tools. I mean, even orangutans are learning to use tools. You seen that video where the orangutan was like using different objects as tools?
No, I've seen ones where like they watch, like they see what humans do and they interact and do exactly what we do.
Yeah,
So it's just like monkeys see what we do. And if you've been in the forest watching people do stuff for hundreds of years, you're going to naturally be able to evolve to do that.
Exactly.
I'm a firm believer that animals are a lot smarter than what people give them the credit for.
So I don't 100% subscribe to the skunk ape theory, but it's definitely a good story to think about. It's definitely a plausible scenario, but whether or not it's lived this long, I don't think it would be an escape to anything if it's been around for that long.
Well, and there hasn't been any new reporting since 2000.
I mean, no, I don't think so. I didn't see anything in my research. But also, if it was an escape orangutan, the accounts would have stopped. It wouldn't have kept going throughout the years.
Somebody would have captured it, would have passed away, something would have happened.
I mean, unless it's out there fucking different animals and reproducing.
Or like there could be a group of orangutans out there just reproducing, and then only the eldest go out because they're the biggest and the strongest to protect the babies. Because they're exotic animals, they weren't natural here. They came from someplace to begin with. I mean, granted, the tropical environment of the Glades is perfect for orangutans. It is literally their desired environment.
Yeah, it's definitely a different one.
I think people really, I don't know, there's the gift shops. That's what I think. I think there's just a select few people out there that are making money off of this, and I don't say that they're lying on purpose, but they definitely have a reason to keep the story going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, the Bigfoot story has been around a lot longer than the skunk ape has.
For sure.
And I think maybe, just maybe, somebody in Florida wanted to create their own version of the skunk ape. And that just, like, poured fuel onto the fire of the, like, different stories that they've seen. And that
Could have just been a coincidence.
Exactly. It could have at one point been the escaped orangutan. There could have been one, but somebody had to keep that story going. Somebody just had to talk about it.
Well, like I said, in the 70s, you could literally pick them up on the side of the road, take them home, and just let them live in your backyard.
Exactly.
And they're wild animals. They're not going to just stay in your backyard. They're going to go.
All right, guys. So that was our story.
I appreciate you having me on, Josh. This was a great dive into the lore. At the end of the day, I'm always going to lean towards the data we can actually see and measure. Florida's a wild place with a lot of history, but until we have some physical evidence that holds up under a microscope, I'm sticking with the biology we know. It's a fascinating mystery, but I'm keeping my feet on the ground on this one. Thanks again for the invite.
All right, no problem, man. I hope to see you next week. We'll probably deep dive on something along the lines of skinwalkers or anything creepy. And you guys in the comments, hop in, tell me guys what you guys think it could have been. If you guys have any good stories to tell us.
Yeah, definitely let us know what you guys want to hear. We love to hear all about cryptids and history. So any specific stories that you guys want to hear from Fresh Take, just let us know.